The next time you're waiting on a train station, do something unusual. Don't look at the train, don't look at the platform signs. Look down. Beneath the steel rails, beneath the sleepers, you'll always find the same thing: broken stones. Millions of rough, jagged rocks stretching for thousands of miles. You'll see them in India, in Europe, in the United States, in freezing mountains and scorching deserts. Same design everywhere, which raises a strange question. Why do we support one of the heaviest, fastest machines ever built on a loose pile of rocks? Why not concrete? Why not steel plates? Why not bolt the tracks directly into the ground like a road? The answer isn't cheapness, and it isn't tradition. It's a clever piece of engineering that quietly solves multiple problems at once. A fully loaded train is absurdly heavy. A single freight train can weigh thousands of tons. That weight is carried by thin steel wheels rolling on even thinner rails. All that force is focused into a very small area. If you place that directly onto the soil, here's what would happen: the ground would compress unevenly, the rails would sink, curves would distort, and eventually the train would derail. Even solid ground isn't enough. So, engineers needed something that could spread the load without permanently damaging the earth beneath it. So, why concrete sounds smart but isn't? At first glance, concrete seems perfect. It's strong, it's durable, and it even supports highways and skyscrapers. So why not railways? Because concrete is too rigid. When trains passes, tracks experience vertical pressure, sideways forces on curves, continuous vibration. Concrete doesn't absorb stress, it resists it. And resistance lead to cracks. Once concrete cracks, water enters, freezing expands the damage, repairs become expensive and disruptive. Railways don't need something that refuses to move. They need something that moves just enough. Think of a railway as a layered system: steel rails on the top, sleepers beneath them, and ballast supporting everything. The first job of ballast is simple: it spreads weight. Instead of forcing all that pressure straight down, the stones distribute it across a wide area of ground. Less pressure, less sinking, long term stability. But ballast does something far more important: it lets the track breathe. Railway tracks are not rigidly fixed into the earth. They are not cemented down. They are not locked in place. They float, held steady by gravity, friction, and the sheer mass of the stones. When a train passes, the track flexes slightly, absorbs vibration, then settles back into position. This tiny movement prevents metal fatigue, sudden fractures, and structural failure. Rigid systems breaks, flexible systems survive. But flexibility introduces a new risk. What stops the track from slowly sliding sideways? Pick up a piece of railway ballast. It's sharp, angular, uncomfortable. You'll never see smooth river stones on a railway. That's intentional. Smooth stones roll. Imagine walking on marbles. Everything slips now. If ballast were round, vibrations from passing trains would slowly push the stones out of place. Curves would widen, tracks would drift, and disaster would follow. Crushed stones behave differently. The sharp edges interlock, they bite into each other. Instead of rolling, they lock together, forming a solid but flexible mass. This keeps the track stable, side to side, front to back, and even at high speeds. Now, water is one of the biggest threats to railways. If tracks sat on soil, rain turns it into mud. Mud washes away and the foundation collapses. If tracks sat onto concrete, water pools, metal corrodes, freeze thaw cycles destroy the structure. Ballast quietly solves this. It's naturally porous. Rainwater flows instantly through the gaps between stones and drains away. No puddles, no mud, and no trapped moisture. It's a built in drainage system hiding in plain sight. And now, what about plants and roots? Ever noticed how little vegetation grows on train tracks? That's not accidental. Plant roots destabilize soil. They lift sleepers, they ruin the alignment. Ballast makes plant growth almost impossible. The sharp stones drain water quickly, block sunlight, and provide no stable soil. No chemicals needed, just physics. And here's the final twist: why do we call these stones ballasts? That word comes from the sea. Centuries ago, empty wooden ships were dangerously light. They bounced violently on waves. To stabilize them, sailors filled the ship's hull with heavy stones. That weight was called ballast. When ships reached port and loaded cargo, they dumped the stones on shore. Early railway engineers saw these piles of discarded stones and realized something. They were heavy, cheap, and perfectly shaped. They reused ship ballast for train tracks. The idea worked, and the name stayed same. So those jagged grey stones aren't random at all. They are a weight distributor, a shock absorber, a drainage system, a weed barrier, and a centuries old engineering solution, all silently supporting every train that passes. The next time a locomotive roars by, remember, the most important part of the railway isn't the train, it's what's underneath it. This is making things simpler. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden logic behind everyday things, like the video and subscribe. Because sometimes the smartest designs are the ones we never question.